Hi, this is Paul Hart from the Saxophonist.org, and I'm here with a play test and review of the Tru Res by Retro Revival. Auto-link mouthpieces are such an important part of our jazz saxophone history. They are the mouthpieces that most of the great players played. Among those mouthpieces, one of the lesser known ones is the Reso chamber. Now, this was a hard rubber mouthpiece that was made along with the Tone Master, and if you want to see some great examples of them, go to Theo Wani's site and go to the Mouthpiece Museum. In their description, they talk about the Reso chamber as an eburnated hard rubber. That apparently one of the great problems in the day was that typical hard rubber mouthpieces would warp because of moisture and heat, making it difficult for the reeds to seal. But the new Reso chamber had the hardness of metal, but in a hard rubber for those who preferred it, and gave that typical link Tone Master sound. Today, trying to find a Reso chamber mouthpiece is next to impossible. And if you do find one, chances are they're going to be offered in a very small tip opening, like a 5-star or a 4-star or a 6, which for the day would have been considered fairly open. Or you're going to find them in terrible physical condition, or that have been reworked to really unrealistic tip openings and facings for today's mouthpieces. Now, two players who really embody playing the Reso chamber are Seamus Blake and Ben Wendell, and have really made the popularity of trying to buy a Reso chamber pretty scarce. One thing's for sure, these are unique mouthpieces. I was going into this review having never played one until right before I posted this review. I did a gig with a guy from Chicago who had bought a new, a vintage tenor, and it had two of these Reso chambers, both 5-stars, in his case. Well, I played them, and boy, were they unique. And I can tell you that playing the Tru Res from Retro Revival is a very, very close proximity to what I tried. Now, I'm used to playing on shorter facings and smaller tip openings. So the 5-star, where not conducive for today's modern playing and big band work, really worked for me. I played the Tru Res in a 7-star. And I can say that the characteristics that I tried of the vintage pieces are present in the Tru Res. It has a beautiful, warm, dark, but centered sound. And the best thing I can describe is it had a lot of the characteristics that I experienced with the Bob Shepard Generation 3. The difference being that the front to the sound would be this with Bob Shepard's mouthpiece, and with the Tru Res, it would be more like this. Likewise, the Tru Res gave me a little bit more back pressure. It wasn't as free blowing, but I want to reiterate that back pressure does not always mean bad. Too much back pressure can be bad, but this one was a nice blend. I kind of felt like, if you've ever done climbing, being on belay, knowing that if you fall, somebody has you with a rope. I felt like I could push against the mouthpiece, but it wouldn't squawk and it wouldn't spread, and I could gauge my dynamic and articulation palette a lot better. I did have some issues down in the low register with it barking or voicing up to the harmonic, but once I worked on my reeds and found the right setup for it, it was all but non-existent. This is a mouthpiece that is a sound that is popular of today, and that is that almost classical dark but with punch tenor sound that is so common in the landscape of jazz music. It is certainly a mouthpiece worthy of your time and trying out if that's what you're looking for. I was able to get a variety of tone colors. I wouldn't necessarily go into a pop or a rock gig with this mouthpiece, but it is a beautiful mouthpiece for playing standards or playing in that darker, more personal vein. So I recommend you try that, you check them out. For a full review of this mouthpiece, as well as other retro revival mouthpieces and other mouthpieces that aren't retro revival, please check out our website at www.thesaxophonist.org.